I'm so proud to have brought the water to Fresno. I'm incredibly proud and amazed that our Assemblymember Henry Perea brought the sun. So once again, good afternoon to each and every one of you. It's a pleasure to be here to highlight positive economic impacts that we're creating with our commitment to address climate change and to protect our environment. As the author of SB 535, I want to make sure, along with my good friend Assemblymember Henry Perea, that we are focusing on those communities that are disproportionately impacted by both climate change and other harmful toxic pollutants that our children breathe into their lungs. These investments will bring energy savings, quality jobs, and environmental benefits where they're needed in communities like Fresno. Fresno, along with other Central Valley cities like Madera, Modesto, Bakersfield, and Merced, consistently rank among the most polluted cities in the nation due to the quality of their air. These cities also have higher than average energy costs because they must rely on air conditioning during the very hot, brutal summer months and also during the very cold, brutal winter months. Now, to make things worse for the Central Valley, we're dealing with the worst drought in California's history. 4 years into this drought, Central Valley communities are bearing the brunt of the economic and environmental consequences. Now, I want to underscore and emphasize for all the folks, this is not an abstract issue, nor is it esoteric. We are running out of water, and as a result, we are losing jobs and income in our farms as well as ranches. And the lack of rain is also adding to the air quality challenges. Here, as more pollution and dust linger into our lungs and find their way into our children's lungs. The number one reason for absenteeism in our public school system is due to asthma. These communities suffer most from climate change and poor environmental quality, but they also stand to gain the most from investments that clean our air and water while creating quality jobs. Fortunately, we're taking steps to bolster our efforts and set California on the long-term path to healthier and more prosperous and more sustainable communities. And we are committed to making sure the benefits are felt in every corner of the state, but especially when they're needed most. Thanks to SB 535, which created the Cal EnviroScreen tool, we can now target our cap and trade investments precisely down to the zip code level to get the most value and deliver the most impact per our dollars. The project that we are launching today is a perfect example. It will save the Mendoza family 75% per month on their utility bill, which totals roughly about $1,000 a year. That's money that can be used for other needs, whether it is rents, food, clothing, healthcare, you name it. I want to thank the California Environmental Protection Agency as well as the Air Resources Board for all of your hard work implementing this program. I also want to thank my very good friend in the State Assembly, Mr. Perea. Mr. Perea and I have been working very closely for the last few months to move forward a package bill dealing with the issue of climate that we hope that all Californians will eventually be supportive of. I want to say a few words in Spanish, just a couple words, and then I'm going to turn it over to my very, very good friend, Mr. Henry Perea. Antes que nada, un saludo muy cordial y un abrazo muy fuerte de solidaridad a cada uno de ustedes de la ciudad de Fresno y el Valle Central y también a la familia Mendoza. Agradezco mucho a la familia Mendoza por abrir su casa aquí en la ciudad de Fresno. Estamos aquí para tocar un tema polarizante y polémico, que es el tema del cambio climático. Y el papel mío como presidente del Senado, también trabajando de cerca con mi gran amigo Henry Perea, es nuestra responsabilidad de hacer todo lo posible para contrarrestar el alto índice y alarmante, peligroso de carbono. Por eso hoy día es un día muy histórico, porque lo que estamos haciendo hoy día con el programa de solar, estamos invirtiendo en las comunidades más necesitadas a lo largo y ancho del estado de California, pero en particular aquí en la ciudad de Fresno, donde el mayor número de constituyentes, de habitantes, son de origen mexicano, latino e inmigrante. Estamos demostrando con hechos, no con dichos, pero sino con hechos, concretamente, que nuestras familias trabajadoras también merecen participar en estos tipos de programas. Que nosotros como senadores, como electos oficiales de los diferentes escaños y también como asambleístas, que vamos a invertir 100% en las familias trabajadoras aquí en la ciudad de Fresno, canalizando el poder del sol y reduciendo el alto costo de gas y de agua. El viento pues se llevó la pancarta y por eso estamos colectivamente muy contentos, muy felices, alzando nuestra voz en solidaridad de este programa, porque esto es el comienzo, la familia Mendoza, porque el objetivo, el fin, la meta hacia medio y largo plazo es ver todas las casas con todo participando en sus techos con paneles de solares. Así que me da mucho gusto estar aquí con la familia Mendoza de Michoacán, del centro de la República Mexicana, y a mí me da mucho orgullo, me honra, ¿no?, con la presencia de ustedes, y yo me siento bien honrado estar aquí con mi gran amigo, el asambleísta Henry Perea. It's with great honor and pleasure that I have the opportunity to introduce my very good friend who represents, born and raised in the Central Valley, a great leader in Fresno and in the Sacramento capital, your leader, that is Assemblymember Henry Perea.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's such a pleasure for me to be here and participate in today's event. First, I'd like to start by welcoming President Pro Tem to Fresno, but more, I think importantly, welcome to my neighborhood. I grew up not too far from here, and it's great to be the representative of this district, but to also be in the neighborhood where I grew up as an assembly member and able to partner with President Pro Tem de León in bringing resources that our communities can benefit from. I'd also like to thank CalEPA, the ARB, and all of our state agencies for all the fantastic work they've been doing over the years. And especially, again, for SB 535. I think that what 535 is beginning to do is deliver on the promise that it had intended to make, and that is to make alternative energy affordable for working families. And that's important because it's no secret that over the years, I've had some concerns over cap and trade. And one of the primary drivers of that concern is how the money and where the money would be spent. And I think for those of us that are from the Valley understand that in many ways we are underdogs, especially in the capital. And when I look at how the pie is oftentimes divided, very rarely does that slice get over to the Central Valley in a whole host of categories. And so that drove a lot of my skepticism around this program. Now, through the work of CalEPA, the ARB, and our President Pro Tem, you're turning me from a skeptic to a supporter. Because if my communities can benefit from the resources that are being generated through this program, then I can support that. Because it's important that we have equity in these funding streams for everybody across the state. So whether you live in Fresno, in Mendoza, in Five Points, or in Marin County, or West Hollywood, everybody should have the same access to these important resources, so then we can all take advantage of the programs that are available. And so I'm really pleased to be here today. I'm really excited and thankful that I'm able to participate in today's event. And I'm excited that we as a Fresno community are finally being noticed. Folks are investing, the state agencies are investing in our communities, in helping us ensure that we are part of this green economy and this clean future. So on behalf of my constituents, I really want to thank you, Senator De León, for all the work you've done, and thank everybody for who played a hand in making this event possible, and to the Mendoza family for being one of our pioneers in helping us kick this off. I want to thank you for being a part of this event and for allowing us to be in your front yard as we host this kickoff event. So thank you very much, and it's my pleasure to be here.
I'd like now to introduce Assistant Secretary for Environmental Justice at the California Environmental Protection Agency, Aresenio Mataka.
Thanks a lot. I think what Senator De Leon mentioned and Assemblymember Perea mentioned sort of touched upon what I was going to say. But I want to say that at CalEPA over the past 3 years, we've worked really hard to identify communities that are most impacted by pollution and vulnerable to its effects. We call these areas, and some of the laws call them disadvantaged communities. And the state collectively, led by Senator Pro Tem Kevin De Leon, has made it a priority that these disadvantaged communities benefit directly from our landmark climate policies. So it's fitting today, as the Senator mentioned, that we find ourselves in one of those communities. You know, this area in Fresno, this particular census tract, is in the 99th percentile with respect to asthma, low education, poverty, and unemployment in the state. It's at the top of the end of the spectrum. And with pollution, it's in the 91st percentile for pollution. But I'll tell you this, in talking to the Mendoza family, we know that folks in these communities like this are ready and eager to participate in tackling the challenges we all face with climate change. And through projects within for this one, the Low-Income Weatherization Program, our most disadvantaged communities will join the fight and to tackle climate change. But I want to underscore one thing, is that while the environmental benefits that flow from this program are significant, I don't want to minimize them, the crown jewel in this investment here today is really the economic benefit, because with investments like these, families throughout the state will live a little easier and will be a little less fearful of an unmanageable electric bill and the sacrifices made to compensate for its costs. So as we transition into a clean energy economy, collectively, California is making sure that these communities are not left out, but rather are among the first to reap the benefits from our landmark climate policies. So thank you for having me today.
I'd now like to introduce board member of the Cal Air Resources Board, Dr. Alexander Sherriffs.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for all being here. Californians have made a commitment to take responsibility for our greenhouse gas emissions and our contribution to global problem of climate change. We're here today to recognize and indeed to celebrate a very local example of how cap and trade dollars become an investment in the life of a community. The dollars spent here support local businesses. The dollars are going to lower the cost of energy for families that utilize them. Now, I serve on the Air Resources Board because I'm a practicing physician about 10 miles south of here, have been there since 1983. As a practicing physician, I understand the nexus, the co-benefits, the health benefits of investing in energy efficiency, clean energy. Our valley's air is much cleaner than it was 40 years ago or 10 years ago, but has been mentioned by many measures, this is the most unhealthful air in the nation. We're surrounded by spectacular mountains, but these ranges are also the perfect trap and perfect beaker for fine particulate pollution in the winter, for ozone formation in the summer. For my patients, this means the highest childhood asthma rates in the nation. I see every week lung disease in adults who never smoked. A woman yesterday told me how much she was looking forward to visiting family out of state later this summer. But it wasn't just for the joy of the family time. It was because it will be a respite for her from the intensity of asthma medications that she has to use when she's living at home here in the valley. Deadliest of all are those particulate matter associated with stroke, heart attack, responsible for literally hundreds of deaths in the valley, premature deaths every year here in this valley, and over $1 billion in terms of direct healthcare costs, and as was mentioned, lost school and work days. The primary source behind ozone and particulate pollution, combustion, our burning of fossil fuels, transportation, freight. So our success in decreasing our carbon footprint can significantly contribute to cleaning our air and improving our public health. Now, all the models of climate change predict a drier and warmer valley. More dust, more extreme heat events, more heat, which will make more ozone in what is already, along with our state's south coast, our nation's most unhealthful air. Big projects, small projects are critical to our health and our future. Thank you, Californians, for your ongoing commitment and for developing creative ways to engage all of our citizens in meeting these challenges. Thank you.
Now I'd like to introduce the Executive Director of the Fresno Economic Opportunities Commission, which is the local agency that did all this work on installing the system for this family, Brian Angus.
Welcome to Fresno and to one of our troubled neighborhoods, a neighborhood that's plagued with lots of challenges that surround the kind of neighborhoods that are submerged in deep poverty. Today we stand to celebrate a great example of a public-private partnership that has come together here in the Central Valley in Fresno and in this neighborhood to address some of those core issues. This partnership between the state of California, represented by CSD, and the network of nonprofit weatherization and solar providers that are led by Fresno EOC, and SunPower, a private California-based solar provider that is contributing to our state's environmental goals and contributing to cleaner air. We are contributing to the state's economic goals by providing job training to folks in a new emerging industry, and we're contributing to our state human development goals by helping those who struggle most in our society with reduced energy costs. Clearly, this is a win-win-win. In just this past month, for this house, we have leveraged full weatherization services where there is no more wasted energy and added a rooftop array of solar. Today, we turn on the solar, and the Mendoza family will see an immediate significant drop in energy costs, leading to a greatly increased quality of life. This project is on target to reach all of our goals by the end of our contract in July. There are 5 partners operating in the pilot, two others besides me are here, Maddie Mendez from Madeira and Brenda Callahan-Johnson from Asst. Each of us is part of the current CSD weatherization network, and each is very excited to be working with CSD to expand our services beyond weatherization and into solar. And the five participants, the 5 partners, are representatives of a network that includes 19 agencies across the state who are all poised to join this effort when, as we hope and anticipate, this pilot demonstrates the success it needs to and leads to an ongoing and annual program. Thank you.
And now I'd like to introduce the State Organizing Director, Asian Pacific Environmental Network, and also a member of the SB 535 Coalition, Mary Rose Taruc.
Good afternoon, buenas tardes. My name is Mary Rose Taruc. I'm with the Asian Pacific Environmental Network. Drove in from Oakland this morning. I'm honored to be here to represent the SB 535 Coalition, over 200 organizations and leaders across the state that made sure and worked tirelessly over the last 5 years with Senator De León and others in the legislature to make sure that we get these climate investments dedicated to families living in areas with the highest pollution in the state. This rooftop solar put on Latino working families' home with workers hired from the local community. Give a hand to the workers back there who installed this. That this is the type of environmental programming in California that we can be proud of now and deliver more of in the future with these millions of dollars of climate investments. And so today is a great day to celebrate the leadership and commitment of our state legislators, our governor, these state agencies, and the community-based organizations across California who are committed to delivering climate benefits to the most disadvantaged communities. Thank you.
And now the co-director of the Leadership Council for Justice and Accountability, Veronica Garibay.
Good afternoon, buenas tardes. Primero que nada le quiero dar las gracias a la familia Mendoza por tenernos en su casa y dejarnos entrar y tener esta conferencia hoy aquí. Y como dice la señora Mendoza, me acaba de decir, ya era tiempo de que nos dejen de ignorar y ver las inversiones en nuestras comunidades. Good afternoon, ma'am. My name is Veronica Garibay, and I co-direct Leadership Council for Justice and Accountability based in Fresno. And we work with families like the Mendoza family throughout the San Joaquin Valley to make sure that we're directing resources to these communities that are that rank at the top of the list as being the most environmentally impacted communities. For far too long, disadvantaged communities have borne disproportionate impacts of climate change. They're the first to feel it, they're the most vulnerable, and they feel it through the loss of employment, poor health outcomes, bad air quality, poor water quality, and and little to no investment in clean transportation options and affordable housing opportunities. This new source of funding, calculated to be in the billions in the coming years, billions of dollars, and those billions of dollars are intended to reach disadvantaged communities, those most impacted in our entire state, will go a long way in building not only a sustainable economy, but most importantly, will go a long way in building healthy communities. Our communities, our health, and our economy depend on our ability to work together to ensure that these dollars reach the San Joaquin Valley and other places like it. As Assemblymember Perea stated, there's a lot of need but there's also a lot of opportunity in this region, and we must work together to capture and really leverage those opportunities. We need to make sure that the dollars reach families like the Mendoza family and communities like Southeast Fresno. Leadership Council is a proud supporter of California Delivers, a statewide coalition focused on protecting, implementing, and extending the benefits of AB 32, the results that we are seeing today on this roof. Thank you.
And finally, I'd like to introduce Nathan Magsig. He's the Energy Director of Fresno EOC.
Thank you, Lene. And I actually just have a couple of thank yous that I would like to hand out, because making this project happen over the course of a 3 to 4 week period of time is next to impossible. And actually accomplishing the goals that Fresno EOC has and our network partners have couldn't be done without different partnerships that we have with SunPower and elite and master dealers that work directly with SunPower. So first, I'd like to thank Quality Home Services, who's right behind all of you here today. They're the ones who installed this system. They did a phenomenal job and worked closely with me over the course of the last 3 weeks. I also would like to thank David Seda and Jeff Rodriguez from SunPower. David traveled from Los Angeles yesterday to be here today. Jeff Rodriguez has been traveling all across the United States, and he was in Texas just a few days ago, and he's here today. They both, from SunPower, recognize the needs that our disadvantaged communities have, and SunPower stepped up to the plate and wanted to be involved in making a difference right here in our community. So I really appreciate SunPower and all they're doing with this partnership. I also want to, yes, please. I also want to thank the City of Fresno. The City of Fresno Planning Department has been fantastic. We were going through inspections, and on Monday, the Planning Department moved heaven and earth to make sure that everything was set to go on this system. And also, I want to thank PG&E. We have two representatives from PG&E here. We have Erica Cabrera and Kyler Crocker here from PG&E. PG&E was able to arrange interconnection so we can turn this system on today. They accomplished this in 2 days, which is unheard of. So really, I appreciate all that you guys did. Thank you. Those are all my comments. So have a good day.
I want to thank everyone for attending this event today, and I want to invite President Pro Tem De Leon and Assemblymember Perea and Brian Angus to join us in the back, where we're going to flip the switch and get this solar system started. So thank you all again for coming.